So something
Mm,
about Bollywood performers that they all have the kind of like star story, you know? I'm not sure what it
mhm.
is. Welcome to another week of Ghost in the Scene, hard-hitting investigatory podcast. This is our third or fourth. No, this is our third actual city that we are focusing on as far as the Hollywoods of the world, because we've been focused, but our fourth as far as since we are going from Hollywood to Atlanta to Wilmington and finally, or here, to Bombay, aka Bollywood, aka Mumbai, India. I'm here with my co-host Rob. How's it going, Rob?
I think it's important right now just to take things a little slowly, everyone. We may trip over our words, we may trip over ourselves, we may trip over a ghost. So, with that in mind, let's just take it easy. You can step around the ghost. No reason to step into it. As long as we just keep our wits about us. So I'm living with that mantra right now, and I'm hoping that that can help inspire you in whatever mantra you're living by right now.
Wow, thank you so much for centering me, Rob. I just overcame with nervousness. I think it was a spirit that grabbed me or something that didn't want me to share the information that we have. And you're right. What we have today for you guys is worth waiting for. It's worth listening to. And so we're going to take it nice and easy because Bollywood is a large place. And the ghost traffic is dense. It's I don't know if you've ever been to a mall of ghosts, but let me tell you something. It is cold, it is hot, it is stinky, it smells good, fragrant. It's
It
everything
can
all at
smell
once.
bad, like rotten eggs.
hmm And people might like that. You might like the smell of rotting eggs. And we're not gonna judge you on that, on what you like to smell. But the ghosts in Mumbai, the ghosts in Bollywood are numerous. And it's not because we brought them there. That's we've talked about how Hollywood has brought ghosts all over across America. And I'm not saying that they haven't, but this is older than Hollywood. It's almost kind of like the story of Bollywood takes place parallel to Hollywood. The Lumiere brothers, French, you might say, they made
Right.
movies, silent movies in Bombay, in India, back in the day. So this is like early 1900s. And they kept kind of, alongside of Hollywood into the 1930s. They started making other movies, the talkies, as they would call them, spellbinding movies that we know as of today. They started going into that in the 60s and 70s. And that's when you see the classic Bollywood, in quotations, the song and dance and the colorful set pieces and all of the famous actors that came out during that time. We don't have time to mention, but all of this is happening while Hollywood is grinding away. It's almost like a separate tree, but it's bearing kind of similar fruit. You know.
And I think we have to think about these are different methodologies. So these are conjuring different kinds of ghosts as well. These spirits aren't quite the same. You can think Hollywood more as prose and Bollywood perhaps as poetry, song and dance. It's more about the singing kind of incantation to drive the spirits, where Hollywood is more about, it's more direct. And I think it's a little bit more subtle the way that they're putting their ghosts in there. So, and you can really see these different sort of expressions. I don't think it's by no coincidence that it's like a Bollywood film. Everyone just gets up and dances all at once and together. So there's something very powerful
Mm-hmm.
within all that. And at times, when we were talking about our maturing uh, vision of ghosts and how we've talked about previous cities and how that relationship is different in each of those. Obviously, it is here as well. We can learn from it because a lot of times it looks like fun, you know.
Yeah, I mean, regardless that you're being possessed by some otherworldly force to dance without your will or consent, it does look very fun, Rob. You're right about that. And I think you can see the essence of their culture being kind of dripped and trickled out into our culture with the flash mob. People organizing a large event to go to a location, a Bank of America or something. I don't want to, call out Bank of America or anything, but people would go there to Bank of America and they would, do flash mobs of Thriller. They'd act like zombies. This is straight out of Bollywood's, notebook. And so we have all of their kind of what do you call it? Their culture is leaching or reaching out into ours, and we can see it, and we've accepted it. Musicals and people actually having fun with their lives. That's all Bollywood, and Hollywood kind of takes and has been taking from them kind of for years, and it's kind of tragic. It's tragic to me. I don't know if it is to a lot of people, but it is to me.
I mean, I think what it also is that it is opening up our eyes, right, to what Hollywood has always done, which is they've always taken ideas from around the world. In the terms of why we're saying Hollywoods of the world,
Hmm.
even the name Bollywood only exists from Hollywood. So Hollywood likes to think that it sits atop a certain throne, and it definitely has that sort of that brand to it.
Hmm.
So I think this exploration to these other cities, even though we're learning about new things, it does help explain what is happening to us here as well. And I think to give the scope, because we've unveiled the mask, so to speak, that there are ghosts in Hollywood and how they're using them. And we're fighting against them. But we really need to dive in deep, as we've been saying, to truly understand where all this power comes from. Uh,
Yes.
and maybe even just like if Hollywood could take from all these other places, why not all these places take from Hollywood? There's a lot more of us than there are of them, sort of mentality.
Mm.
Um, so, I think this is also something as we're exploring, we're reaching out, we're going to be reaching out to all these places as well, because we feel it is important to have perspective from these places to continue this dialogue. So stay tuned, stay in the scene.
Hmm.
It's not easy. There's a lot of numbers to call. Like we're trying every single one at this moment,
Yeah.
and it's a lot. We're talking to a lot of people, and we got to make sure we find the right ones to make sure that they are properly vetted. We're not doing this off the cuff,
And they got to be
and
in the scene. They got
they
to
do.
out the door. They got to know that ghosts are real, vampires are real, werewolves can fit on DVDs. They got to know all of this kind of stuff. And if they don't, then we won't let them on our show. It's as simple as that.
And not just that, I mean, we're trying to learn more new information as well, so they can come not just for us, but to all of you listening out there. That we want to make sure that we bring on everyone onto the same scene, right? We
Hmm.
need to figure out what their scene is, and we need to tell them what ours are. So we can collectively be in the scene.
Wow. And we will do that, and we will find the right people. But first, let's get into a small investigation into Bollywood.
Mhm.
What is Bollywood? The history. We already kind of did a small intro about it. We talked about how it's kind of parallel to Hollywood. So I did some research. So Bollywood is a mashup of Bombay and Hollywood. And so I Googled Bombay and nothing came up. I couldn't find it on a map anymore. Bombay doesn't exist. So I Googled what happened to Bombay. And that's when I found out that they changed the city of Bombay to Mumbai. So I don't know if anybody who was living in Bombay, if they just disappeared and poofed into, apparition and being ghosts now. I don't know if that happened and no one's talking about it, but that scared me. If something could easily change a city's name, what's to say that all those people living in that city just disappeared?
Right, they're no longer from Bombay. Like all their birth certificates and driver's license,
Hmm.
food handlers cards, useless.
And just imagine the postal service guys. They're walking in a city they don't even recognize anymore. You know?
It's become a ghost of itself.
Wow. And truly, this is like a ghost town. And yet, Mumbai is one of the most populated cities in India. So the dichotomy there. Why? Okay, so I guess it's just interesting to think about this. They fill a ghost town full of people. Why? Right? What's the point of filling a ghost town full of other people? Is it to
I mean,
mask? We'll go ahead.
yeah, I to balance out the ghosts. I think that's what you're going to be saying.
Exactly. Exactly. You need enough souls to mask the presence of ghosts because the wizards of the world would be on it in a second. And I'm surprised that we have some wizards that listen to us and we thank you for listening. Um, you know, but
Shout out.
people, yeah, shout out to you guys. But people who know about, ghost hunting, Van Helsing, monster hunters, they would go to Bollywood before all of this, because I'm sure the fertile soil where all filming happens, when you think about filming locations, none of them come to mind that are bad, right? It's all beautiful, beautiful stuff, mountainsides, rivers, lakes, streams, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And India has all of that. Mumbai has all of that. And Bombay, back in the day, had all of that too before Hollywood was ever involved. So the monster hunters, all the wizards, they knew about it. But it was the switcheroo when you kill a city and turn it into a ghost. You can't find it on a map anymore. All of a sudden, all those ancient maps, they don't work anymore.
It's like they're breaking a spell, in a sense.
Like a contract, like a universal contract. It's like, and this is like one of the biggest betrayals. And I've never talked about this, but Pangea. When Pangea broke up, it broke up the whole world. And that was, if you guys don't think that was a spell, I don't know why you're listening. I don't know. I don't even know why you are in the scene if you don't think that Pangea was a spell, because it was definitely a spell. It broke up the whole world. We were going to be a unified people. We had the chance. And some dirtbag, they ruined it. Probably a group of them. And it was from that poison seed that the civilization spread apart across the world. And if it wasn't for that, we'd all be in flying cars right now, or maybe out in space. Who knows? A ghost friendly, whole world we'd be in if it weren't for Pangea.
Right. If we had access to the power of the spiritual world with complete harmony with ours, there's no limit to what it would be possible.
Mm-hmm. And we're stuck with the world that we have. And now the Hollywoods are spread out all across the world. But the fertile soil is necessary for Hollywood to spring, to spring forth. Like with Cape Fear, they had the perfect source to dump all of their ghosts. In Wilmington, in Bollywood, they have the number of people, the millions of people necessary to be haunted, for all the ghosts to, Imagine like when you think of a ghost as like a bored cat. You know, they just need something to play with, and we are their playthings. If they're amused, if they're haunting everybody all the time, then it's fine. It's fine for them at least. For people, of course, they're haunted, and it's trauma. But for ghosts, they're not gonna, conspire to end the world if they're haunting a little girl and her friends, or something like that. When they're bored is when they, conspire with Satan and all the demons. But when they're happy, they're just haunting people like normal. And that's what Bollywood gives to ghosts. They give them people, which I don't know the ethics of that. Rob, what do you think?
I mean, obviously, it's a very powerful responsibility for anyone. And I've just been thinking so much about, again, like that changing the spell. The reason why they had to change it from Bombay to Mumbai. And this has only been recent as well, because we all know it as Bollywood. They named it because it was still Bombay at that time. This only happened in 1995 that they
19
changed. 1995. And those of you who are in the scene, that year actually sounds a little familiar because it's been one that we've been talking a lot about, the 666 years, like the one we're currently in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to really be cognizant of. Like, that's no mistake. Like, there's a reason why they broke the spell of Bombay, because every word you say is a spell. So
Yes.
Bombay in itself is a certain spell, and that spell, actually, when you say it out loud now, it's not going to attract ghosts anymore because they broke it, because it's no longer real.
Mm-hmm.
The word itself is now a ghost word, so the ghosts don't care.
It's so interesting. Once you start using their language, it's like they start to ignore you. And that's kind of how it is sometimes with us as paranormal experts. We want to interact with ghosts. We want to, find and meet ghosts. But since you speak the language of ghosts, they don't want to haunt you, you know? And if you don't have the proper tools to communicate with them like we do, then you can be stuck thinking that ghosts aren't real. You can trick yourself into thinking that ghosts aren't real, which is not true. So let's get back into Bollywood. Now, when we talk about, Hollywood actors, you think of Leo DiCaprio, Johnny Depp. Obviously, he's all over the world. Paris, he lives in. We're not sure about Bollywood, but they have their own group of stars that, I mean, these people are famous beyond words, but they have been haunted as well, and they're coming out with their stories. This is something that is truly admirable, something that I wish Leo would do more often, is talk about the ghosts. But I mean, we have here an article, and it is 11 different actors who are coming out with their stories about being haunted on set by ghosts. And frankly, reading this, I was alone when I read this, Rob. I wasn't, with anybody, and I felt chills. And it didn't even start, I say it goes down your spine. It started from the top of my head and it went all the way to the bottom of my feet. So this
Wow.
wasn't a regular chill,
No.
So
And I mean, I applaud you for being so brave in your research and fearless, Gio. And I also want to thank you for holding my hand while I read this article to make sure that, because you were already spooked, they kind of gave you a little bit of immunity. That's why spoilers are also good, everyone.
Could feel my shivers, I'm sure,
And
because I was
felt
shivering.
right, but it also helps give you immunity. And I was able to get through the whole article because of that. And I'm glad I did, because there's so much to be learned.
So let's just give you the footnotes. You should definitely look this up yourself if you're inclined. It's the indiatimes.com article. So shout out to the writer of the India Times article. We'll get to the writer when we find their name. But let's start off with an American kind of bridge from America to India. This is Varun Dhawan, and he is saying he was haunted by the singer, the ghost singer, Frank Sinatra. Uh, you heard that? That's the Frankie Blue Eyes from America. You know, New York, New York.
I've heard of
He,
that.
you've heard New York, New York at least once or twice, I hope. And if you guys haven't listened to New York, just pause real quick and just look up New York, New York by Frank Sinatra and come back. So, okay, now you're back. You know who Frank Sinatra is. And Varun is saying after a long day of shooting, he went back to his room to sleep and he heard like his door creak open. And all of a sudden, the door just flings open and he hears Frank Sinatra singing to him. Now, I don't know if I were you, this would be kind of flattering. Do you like Frank Sinatra's music enough for if his ghost serenaded you? Do you think you'd like that, Rob?
It would definitely make me feel spooked. To be in the presence of a ghost celebrity like that. I'd be kind of wondering why he was singing to me. I mean, I think his voice really makes sense as a ghost voice. I feel like it would actually be really spooky. Imagining crooning. Crooning is pretty. Almost sounds like a ghost to begin with, but then you add actual ghost vocalization on top of that. I feel like that voice would just echo forever inside of your head.
I didn't think about the ghost qualities of Frank's voice, but yeah, you're right. That would be
Crooning sounds like boo.
and guys, we didn't have to say it, but I'm just gonna say it. Boolywood. Boolywood. Like Bollywood. Guys, I don't know if you guys didn't make that connection, but I made it for you. So let's continue down this list. I want to get to one that was pretty scary to me. For the most part, these are all terrifying. I don't want you to get some idea like we're choosing the scariest ones. They're all the scariest ones. But this is one that you talked about in the beginning in the intro, Rob. So someone, we don't know who it was, passed through Neil Nitin Mukesh. Now he's an actor. He's huge. If you guys haven't heard of Neil Nitin Mukesh, then you're living under a rock somewhere. But this guy is saying that he was shooting on location in Bollywood, and one of the light boys came running, complaining that someone was standing right by him, and that he passed right through him. And then we thought he was joking, but then he passed through him too. So right there,
Wow.
I mean, you think you're joking, you think it's funny, and then it happens to you. And that's, I don't know if that's karma, but I think that's just kind of what you were saying earlier, how, Mumbai is so full of ghosts that you have to be careful for them not to go through you, because they'll just step right through you. And I think that's just kind of a testament to how many ghosts there are. And that's scary.
And that it can truly happen to anyone. It doesn't matter what privilege you enjoy walking in this life. You can be haunted and possessed. There could be a ghost right next to you right now. There probably is one. actually, you know?
Yeah.
So I think these stories are scary, but they're also meant to inform. And I don't, and you know, like that, you know, it's almost like knowing the spoiler to your own ghost story. It's like, spoiler alert, there's a ghost. Okay, so there, so what? So now what? Like,
Hmm.
obviously, you're okay.
Yeah. You
If
have
you're
the
not
tools.
okay, then uh, get some holy water. I hope you have some near you,
Hmm.
and pour it over your computer or phone, whatever you're listening on, and that will make it stop at least. So, you know, one step at a time. But we're hoping that's not the case, and you're still listening to us. So thank you for sticking around.
This is the last one I wanted to talk about. This guy. Now, this is a story that can be told all around the world. It's universal, probably all across the galaxy. Ram Gopal Varma. He was method acting so hard, but his character was a ghost named Manjeet. And his movie that he was in was called Boot. And he saw his ghost character walking next to him as he was sleeping after a whole day of shooting at 3 in the morning. So right there, he saw himself as a ghost next to himself at 3 in the morning. And why? Because he was method acting, maybe doing meth. I'm not sure if that's part of method acting.
At times, it could be.
I know that Christian Bale was heavy into doing method acting. I'm not sure if the meth was part of the method acting or if that was separate. For The Machinist, lost a lot of weight for that method acting. I'm not sure. You know, that's not good. Neither here nor there. There's no ghost involved. But when it comes to Ram uh, Gopal Varma, that was a ghost that he conjured of himself. Now, we could get into the semantics and say, now, could it be a ghost of his identical twin that he never knew, or his great grandfather that looked just like him? It could be a lot of things. It could be It could be a maybe even a imitator, a doppelganger ghost that wanted to steal his identity. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what kind of ghost attacked or approached him, but we know that they're talking, right? They're vocal about it. They actually tell people the ghosts are in Bollywood, and they're scared that they fear for their lives. They're in their hotel rooms and they think they're safe from Bollywood, and all of a sudden Bollywood comes knocking, walking through the door, but they're telling the media, and at least in that way there's some accountability, right? Some ghosts hopefully are going to jail for breaking and entering, for harassing people. I'm not sure, what kind of ghost police they have. I don't know if they have a ghost police.
We don't have a ghost police.
You know,
I mean, there's the Ghostbusters. They're the closest thing we
yeah,
got.
we're we're nonpartisan. We're not police officers. We're investigators. We work with peace officers. But the fact is, you're right. There is no peace
I mean,
officers for Ghost.
right. I mean, are you saying peace or police? Because I feel like there's difference, and I don't know if policing is something that is appropriate for the spiritual realm. I mean, or any realm, but
Exactly, and that's why I said we work with peace officers
peace,
because
yes.
we need to make peace with ghosts, not police them.
Hmm.
That's number one. Because if we demonize them anymore, they will truly become the demons that we want them to be. It's
You're
it's
just
a
creating
mirror.
more demons. Yeah.
So we don't want to do that.
But there's also, I mean, but there's also peace that needs to be made because there are also still attacks made on people by ghosts that are intending to do harm.
And and that's why we have people from India, from Bollywood, who make the transition to Hollywood. I'm not sure if there's some kind of contractual thing, and I want to kind of take a few steps back on a comment I made earlier about Leo. I know he listens, and Leo, I don't want to put you on blast on that like that, bro, because I know we're such homies. So I was just saying that I don't know if you guys have a contract with ghosts so that they don't harass you. I don't know if your producers, you know, maybe they have you on some kind of ghost, amnesia drug or something. Maybe you just don't remember. I don't know, right? Because we're not that close of friends. You haven't told me yet. But for everybody as far as India, it's open season for them with ghosts. Ghosts can attack them whenever they want. It seems to me, at least in America, there's a sense that ghosts don't really go for the talent. Usually they go for the viewers, you know? So I'm thinking that's why we have people who transition from Bollywood to Hollywood. They want to get away from just the casual everyday cat calls of ghosts, since it's impacted over there. So they come to Hollywood, to the different Hollywoods, Georgia if it's nice and sunny, Hollywood, whatever, they go anywhere. And it's people like Priyanka Chopra. Do you know about Priyanka? Priyanka? How do you say it?
Priyanka. Yes. I mean, she's been on the radar forever. She has been acting up a storm. Just there is that a perfect example of someone who is aware of the energies and knows how to use those powers. She is at least a triple threat. She dances, she sings, she acts, she produces. I'm sure she directs. Give that woman a camera, and she's going to do something fantastic with it.
Wow. That truly, I did not realize how talented she was. But shout out to her. And I know one thing about her because I follow her husband. And I know
Mr. Priyanka Chopra.
the husband of Priyanka Chopra
Mm-hmm.
is Nick Jonas. They've decided not to use their names, to give each other their names, right? And so when I found out he was married, it struck me because now it adds. Now they each okay. So if you guys don't know, I don't think we've ever done an episode on the Jonas Brothers, but Rob said something to me earlier when he called them, and I'll say it. He called them a trinity, and I've never heard anything more true in my life. They are the trinity, the new age of. I don't want to say they're not all Christ-like. They can't all be Christ, right? Because Christ is, but the idea is it's a trinity, with all of them put together, they are a super powerful supernatural force. And they've been doing this since they were children. They worked with Disney and they got out, which is hard to do, guys. I don't know if you've ever tried. There's not many people that have done it, but they worked with Disney. I mean, look, they worked with Demi Lovato and everybody, on the set of Camp Rock. So they were rock and roll, the devil music, and yet they come out and they're stronger than ever. And it was because it was three, the Trinity. And Priyanka, she is adding to that her quadruple star power. And together, now we talked about power couples. I don't think I've found another more powerful power couple since Mel Gibson and Demi Moore. Or not Mel Gibson, I'm sorry, Bruce Willis.
Yes. I mean, but think about, it's not just a power couple. It's like a power quartet. You get 3 Jonases for the price of 1.
Mm-hmm. Because where he goes, they all go. That is a lot of power. And they're already flexing their muscles. We have video of it's a music video. The Jonas Brothers, they came back to, with a vengeance, basically, to show everybody that they weren't just a kid, fad, that they were honest musicians, and they made a song about vampires, and it's called Sucker. And Priyanka Chopra, she is in the music video as a star. She's like, she's dancing, she's walking in a big dress. She looks like a very regal kind of vampire. If you look at the period kind of piece that they kind of set it in, is very Victorian, and that's classic vampire times. So that just came out maybe like a month ago, and it's called Sucker. Have you heard it?
No, I've been actually staying away from that one particularly because it's. I know that I didn't have you to hold my hand throughout it, and the power of that song I know will be too intense for me. I mean, I will listen to it. I'm trying to listen to it maybe like 1 second at a time, spread out over maybe a few weeks. Like 1 second a day, because that's all I can handle at this point.
Yeah, that is definitely a lot to handle. And if I didn't have I have headphones, but in the actual hollow part of the headphones, I have holy water, a little baggie of holy water that I have in each hole. So that way, everything sounds a little strange, but at least I know I'm safe, and I'm safer than I've ever been. So I just wanted to just remind everybody that Priyanka, she has been working since the year 2000. And it's now 2019, which is a long time. That's 19 years. And she has been hard at work. As of today, she has made over like 49 movies, which is insane, right? But she's not the only person that's crossed over. There have been other stars. And Bollywood, they make movies like you wouldn't believe. In the year 2017, they made a list of how many movies were produced in Bollywood, and the number was 1,986, which is the year 1986. Okay,
Wow.
remember that. Remember that year, guys, because I want to introduce you to an actress who also is a singer, but her name is Deepika Padukone, or Padukone. Her dad was a championship badminton player, so power couple, of course. And she was in the movie Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage, which stars Vin Diesel, the Speed Demon. I don't know if you
I
guys
believe
remember.
a Casper Award-winning film from
That's right.
our first Casper. So yeah.
And he wears his award around his neck every day with pride. It's that cross. We gave him that cross, and we blessed it for him. And so shout out to Vin. But we have this actress making the crossover. She's a model. She's an actress. She's a singer. She probably plays badminton because her dad played badminton. He was a champion. So, I mean, quadruple threat as well. And her birthday, January 5th, 1986.
Wow.
So, I mean, these are the kind of people that we know of right now. Obviously, there's going to be people that we don't know. They slip through the cracks. And that's why we need an expert. That's why we need somebody who we can talk to that knows the area, that knows the people, that knows the movies, that can give us a lead. Because honestly, we could do years investigating Bollywood. There's just so much. So we're reaching out to anybody that knows anything, that knows anyone. We need your help. This is just it's just too much. We bit off too much. That's my whole thought on all of this. This is just way too much. Mumbai, Bombay. I'm already confused.
I mean, we're only products of our own environments. So, you know, Gio and I are in California, so of course we know Hollywood upside down, inside out.
Hmm.
What we need is the community, is you guys out in the scene. You know, this is not just about us. You know, we are speaking to you as mediums almost, and but we know that we aren't the only ones out there, and we hope that you're in the scene with other people as well, so we can, at by the end, when we all come together, we can all be speaking the same language. So, you know, we're out there, so whoever we're going to find, it's, you know, just going to be a different version of us.
Hmm.
uh you know, and I use us, not just me and you, Geo. I'm including you too, dear listener. We know who we are.
That's right.
So it's going to make sense once it clicks.
That's right.
But in the meantime, we are pounding the pavement. We're ringing every single phone, that every number that we can find from India. So if you have a phone number that is from India that you know, send it to us. We'll call it. Uh,
Yeah, immediately we'll call it. So yeah, send us those emails, and of course we are going to continue our investigations into the Hollywoods of the world. There are plenty hiding, beneath layers and layers of years and years of dust. People, no one's dusted off many of these old Hollywoods, but we're gonna find them. We're gonna unearth all of the bones in the basement, and we're gonna release them to you guys, and we're gonna show you all the bones. And so the bones are coming to you, and we're gonna bring them. So I think until next week, Rob, stay in the scene.
yeah, and just keep your eyes on the screen, people. You know, be aware, be connected, be friendly, and be yourselves.
Take care.